don't know if they're online can hear you good. I don't know if they're online.
Hey, sis Tosh, can you just, I just want to make sure you can hear me.
Off of the mic, she can hear you on both.
And that one too, you saying?
Testing.
No, I mean the Zoom. They can hear you. People.
Oh, that's what I meant. Tosh don't have it open.
She do, but she can hear you on the mic.
I can hear you.
Okay, all right. All right, so the scripture should be in our Zoom chat, and should also be within our text messages, so everybody can follow along. All right, so like I said, the title of today's lesson is Where Are the People of Israel? All right, so before we get into it, we're going to start this off in Sirach chapter 19. So if anybody doesn't have an apocrypha, you will need one, and we do have some up front. It's Where Are the People of Israel?
Yeah, go like this. Sister Q.
Like they did.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so Brother Ted is ministry today. Oh, yeah.
See if they can hear you online.
Hey, can somebody just unmute that's on Zoom just to make sure you guys can hear us?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. So we're starting off in Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 19. You're going to be at page 81. And that's 53 if you have the bigger apocrypha. All right. Go ahead, bro.
He that has small understanding.
I'm sorry. I don't even say the verse, did I?
Oh,
All right. So, yeah. So, do you have it?
yeah. Sirach 19,
Okay.
verse 24.
All right.
Sirach 19, verse 24.
All right. Picking it up at verse 24. All right. Go ahead.
He that hath small understanding and feareth God is better than the one that has much wisdom and transgresseth the law of the Most High.
All right. So we always talk about people that just want to learn and people that just want to be able to contend with others. He's saying, I'd rather you have a little bit of understanding and fear God than have all this wisdom to be able to answer all these questions, but you break every law you can. And if we're not careful, we'll become that. Oh, yeah, I want to know about this. I want to know about that, but we won't do the basics. This is why I was talking to a brother last week. I said, listen, man, just do what you already know. Just start with that. If you already know you have to keep the commandments, just start with that. You can grow from there. God would rather you just do that than try to gain all this understanding really quick. All right, so just do what you know to do is right. All right, so that's how God looks at it. You're better than somebody that just has all this wisdom. All right, so where are we going, bro?
Romans 3, verse 1. Romans 3, verse 1.
All right, so let's start off with this question. What does it matter where Israel is? Because that's what you guys are going to come across. Who cares? God looks at everybody the same. It doesn't matter who the Israelites are and who they are not. So let's see if it actually is important.
Forgot to it's a lot of people we congregate with. I even told them we started early today. I'm trying to text everybody now.
Oh shoot,
I forgot. My sister Q, the sister Silly, but now.
Hey, Sister Q, does Ascilla know we starting early? Okay, all right.
Yeah,
All right.
I forgot all about people. I'm thinking like they're always on.
Dang,
I
yeah,
just realized we never even said anything. We told everybody, but
yeah. Let's give it a second.
yeah, is the sister Shakira in our group?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna hold. We didn't send out the message to let everybody know we were starting at 9. Okay.
Is sister Shakira in that group that we're in? Who created that? Maj, right?
Maj.
You just said shit. Oh, you're talking about your. Oh, I thought you were saying Shakira. Yeah, Maj is on there.
Maj is on, but I'm talking about we got a few people that's always on. I forgot that we never even. Are they in that? Go ahead.
That's Maj. Did she say shit?
Yeah. Actually, she wouldn't because we were just talking about it in the group that we were in, what's that?
Oh, but she was on last night, right?
Your sister, Shakira?
It's a mom.
Oh, yeah, mine's on now.
Okay.
Yeah, Sister Shakira, though, I don't know if she's in that group that we were just all talking in, because she's on every week.
Right.
And I'm just not seeing certain people. I'm like, I forgot to even reach out and tell everybody that
Right.
it started early today.
Are they on IoT family?
That's why I was asking. I don't know if anybody knew.
It's a mom.
Okay.
Hey, Sis Maj, do you know if Sister Shakira is on the IoT WhatsApp?
No, I don't think that she is. I only basically have everybody from the church on the WhatsApp group chat.
You can hear that?
Can you repeat that for us?
I said the only people that are really on the WhatsApp group chat are the people from the church.
Okay. So pretty much everybody that's in our text message chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll have to add her to it because she's on
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. By the time she get on, we're gone. She won't even hear the last of it.
Right.
But is she on this family chat?
I can't remember if we ever, I know she's in one of them, but we start that thing over so many times.
Yeah.
I don't know, she dropped out sometimes and
If we record this, we can send it to like her email or something.
Yeah, we are going to record it.
Okay.
yes, I guess I could send it to her. I mean, I text her, but I know.
You ever know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang, yeah, because if they weren't on last night, they wouldn't know.
Exactly.
All right, lit my book up.
Oh, that's a rough one.
You ain't lying.
Yeah, Judah got me and Daniel. This is what he was like.
He lit me up.
He was
Doodling.
this is when he was real young. He got me real good.
Well, we were in Cape May,
You
you
can-
could rip my tabs.
He got
Yeah, he got.
so you actually looking good compared to what he did to me. Look, going from that page.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's kindergarten stuff.
Good thing about it, I can see it's just highlighted. I can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
it. Every time I read it, I just look thinking myself, like, he got me. Look, he got me. That's not bad.
That's decent now.
We can start with that today.
Calling that the message. I'm sure you can probably still see.
Yeah,
Right,
she
yeah.
has a newborn. Yeah, she has a, yeah.
Yeah, we'll send it to her. All right. So we're gonna go over to Romans chapter 3, and he's gonna pick it up at verse 1. Romans 3 and 1. All right. So let's find out. Let's find out. Does it matter who these people are? All right. Go ahead.
What advantage then has the Jew,
Uh-huh.
or what profited there of circumcision?
All right. What does it profit? What does it advantage being a Jew? What does it matter? Keep reading.
Much every way.
All right. So he says it matters a lot. It matters much every way. Keep reading.
Chiefly because that unto them were the oracles of God.
All right. Chiefly because unto them were committed the oracles of God. They have the answers. Now, I was going to list out all these different religions that came about, these John Smiths and all these other people that came up with the Jehovah's Witness, the Baptists. I have all those. But the bottom line is we should have known from the beginning, these people are Israel. They couldn't have gotten a prophecy about this. It's not possible. So he's saying right from the beginning, it matters a lot because they have the oracles. Oracles just mean answers. They have the answers. But we let these people rise up and say, let's be Baptist, let's be Methodist, and we went right with them. If y'all see pictures of these people, we'd be like, I can't believe I was following that. I can't believe I let this dude say, all right, let's start something. And I ran right with him. He's saying no, they were given the oracles. All right. All right, where we going, bro?
Exodus chapter 19, verse 5.
All right, Exodus chapter 19. Yeah.
He ain't good like me.
I knew that was coming. Y'all get used to stuff real quick.
That's it.
Y'all get used to stuff real quick.
He ain't gonna labor of love in there.
All right.
But we just want to point out two things of what the verse we just read.
Yep.
That is in the New Testament. So we just want to show that if it's in the New Testament, things did not change. So why would he ask the question if it had no reverence? It wasn't no reverence to anything. That's the New Testament. He said that. So this is why everybody want to identify to be Israel because of that. Because I know if I am Israel, I have those things allotted to me. So everybody wants to do this. Everybody wants to be that because they understand the things tied to it. So we just want to point out as he goes through, we are talking about New Testament here, that he's asking that question. And then turns around and say, this matters a lot about who these people are. So identifying them is very important because if they have the answers, then they understand something totally different than the rest of the world. Right. All right, that's New Testament. We dealt with that as we continue to go on this journey.
All right. All right, good point. And this is the understanding of that is something they had in the Old Testament. Like when things happened, they knew who to go to. All right. So it's just now that we're up in the air saying, you know what, maybe he does have the answer. You know what, maybe I should consult with this guy, but he doesn't have the oracles. All right. So, all right. So let's keep going. Let's go over to Exodus chapter 19. Let's see what these oracles are that Paul is referring to here. All right, Exodus chapter 19. He's going to pick it up at verse 5.
They're in the chat too, is right?
Yeah,
They're in the chat,
please. Yeah.
They are in the chat.
Yeah.
Can you pick it up at verse 5?
Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine.
All right, so he's saying it's the covenant that's going to separate you from everybody else. It's what I'm telling you to do is what's going to make you stand out. But we aren't a peculiar people. We actually look just like everybody else now, which is the problem. But he's saying if you do this, you will be different. Keep reading.
And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel.
All right, so he's saying you are going to be not just one priest, a whole kingdom of priests. Everybody is going to look to you like, dang, they actually have the way. They know how to get to the kingdom. The whole nation will be priests. All right, so it matters much in every way. We were handed the keys. All right, so this is why it's very important that we find out where Israel is. All right. All right, we still going?
Yes. Verse 7. And Moses came and called for the elders of the people and laid before their faces all these words which the Lord commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, all that the Lord has spoken, we will do. And Moses returned the words of the people unto the Lord.
They said, everything you just said, you know what we gonna do? And be obedient. All right, so we're gonna find out because they went backwards, what happened to them, which is how we got to the spot we're at right now. All right, but in the beginning, all that the Lord said we will do. All right, and this is what they were handed down. This was the oracles. All right, where we going, bro?
First Kings, chapter 12, verse 1.
I think it's
11. Yeah, 11. Let's go. Yeah, hit 11 first.
Okay.
All right,
Kings,
so
chapter 11.
So because we have new people, I know there's going to be a lot of things you guys already know, but we have to go all the way back to the beginning to try to figure out what happened to this nation. All right. All right, go ahead, bro.
For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father.
All right, so God is putting a distinction between David and Solomon. It says his heart was not the same as his father. Keep reading.
For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of Zidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites.
His problem was these idols. He went after other gods. So he's saying your heart is not like David. Keep reading.
And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and went not fully after the Lord, as did David his father. Then Solomon built a high place.
You can skip down to verse 11.
Verse 11. Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, forasmuch as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend a kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant.
All right, so up until this point, all 12 tribes was dwelling together. And after Solomon did this, he said, you know what? I'm going to take the kingdom from you. Keep reading.
Notwithstanding, in thy days I will not do it for David, thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son.
So not while you're alive, though. Only because who your father was. Nothing that you did. Because of who your father was to me, I'm not going to do this in your time. But I am going to do it in your son's. Keep reading.
Howbeit, I will not rend away all thy kingdom, but will give one tribe to thy son for David, my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen.
So only one kingdom will stay with Solomon. All right. The other 10 are gone. All right. So let's find out who we're talking about here. So go right over to the next chapter.
And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were come to Shechem to make him king.
All right. So Rehoboam is Solomon's son. So now Solomon has died, and it's time to make his son king. All right. Keep reading. Yeah, go ahead.
Verse 4. Thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father, and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter, and we will serve thee.
So as they're trying to say, we're going to make you king, but you got to be a little bit lighter on us. Your father Solomon had us building temples, all these people. He had us working day and night. You're going to have to lighten this load. You're going to have to help us out here. All right, keep reading.
And he said unto them, depart yet for 3 days, then come again to me. And the people departed.
All right, so the people departed. Now, in the meantime, he consulted with the elders, like you should. Hey, this is what they're trying to tell me. They're saying, you know, dad was a little hard on them. They want me to lighten up. They said, listen to them. If you be good to them, they'll be servants to you. Then he turned to the people he grew up with. And they had a completely different thing to say. Well, you're going to be light. Tell them we're going to go harder. We're going to go way harder than Solomon did. So let's find out who he listens to. He got elders that knew the way, that have been around, and then he had people he grew up with. All right, so let's skip down.
Verse 12. So Jehoram and all the people from Rehoboam the third day, and the king of the appointed saying, come to me again the third day.
All right, so Jeroboam, we're going to find out he's made king of the northern kingdom, and Rehoboam, which is Solomon's son. So now this 3 days is up. They're coming back. Keep reading.
And the king answered the people roughly, and forsook the old men's counsel that they gave him, and spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, my father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from the Lord, that he might perform his saying, which the Lord spake by Ahijah the Shilonite until Jehoram the son of Nebat.
All right, so little did they know these things he was doing was to fall in line with what God had said. All right, so he's thinking, oh yeah, I'm just gonna listen to the younger, but God's saying, no, this is so I can execute what I need to do. If you would have listened to the elders, they would have fell in line and it would have never been split. All right, so he's saying, no, this is actually coming from me. All right, keep reading.
So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, what portion have we in David? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel, now see to thine own house, David. So Israel departed unto their tents.
All right, so from that moment on, Israel said, we don't have no part with you then. If you're not trying to help us, we ain't helping you. Everybody, let's go back home. Keep reading.
But as for the children of Israel, which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them.
All right, so who dwelt with Judah was Benjamin. All right, so other than Benjamin, everybody else left. All right. So after he gets this information and they're telling him, we're not going to serve you, he's like, oh, we can fight then. I don't got no problem fighting. But God had to come to him and say, no, you're not trying to fight. I don't want you to try to get them back. Because he's saying, I'm getting y'all back. If we got to go to war for it, this is my kingdom. I just got this to me. This is my inheritance. But God said, no, this is what I actually want to happen. I already told Solomon he was going to lose it. It's just going to happen in your time now. All right. So he told him, no, you're not going to war. It's got to get split. All right. Where we going, bro?
John chapter 4.
Yeah.
One question. All right, so this is not to single anybody out in class, but does everybody understand what he's talking about? If you don't, please raise your hand. Because it's only going to get a little bit deeper if you don't.
But I want to
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, I have to understand because it is fast-tracked, that story, where we all read it, so it's easy for us to comprehend actually what's happening.
Right.
But for the first time, that was a lot
We
to
just
kind of
went.
follow along.
Yeah.
it's the names, you know.
Correct. Exactly.
Split,
Right.
then wasn't clear about how many went where.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
Right. Yeah.
That's the part.
And it's important to understand that because what he's about to go into is very, very important.
Yeah.
You, Miles, you understand? You understand like what's happening in this whole story, right? All right, so
Not trying to single nobody out. Miles.
not because
I'm messing with
she
you,
heard
bro.
it before, he never heard
Yeah, I'm
anything.
messing with you, bro.
You had something from previous things where you
Yeah.
can actually put a couple lines together to at least
Yeah.
comprehend what's happening. But for you never hearing anything,
Right. It says
not only the names would be hard, but what we even talking about is very difficult to comprehend. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you don't, it is best to understand because what he's about to explain
Yeah.
really wouldn't make any, like you would have to ask a lot of questions to even catch up to, you understand what I'm saying? So if you don't understand, it is important that he does give you more clarity. Understand? Because he's not only just going to he's not only talking about children, he's talking about what's about to happen to the children, right? And this is what the whole lesson is about, these people. So now he's going back to a group of people that's about to separate. You understand? And where they came from is very important to understand. So when he's talking about Solomon, and now he's about to talk about these people that's about to split, it's very important to understand what we're about to talk about. When we get to the New Testament, you're like, dang, I don't even understand anything that we're dealing with. Go ahead, sis.
Genesis 46, wow. Wow.
Correct. This is what he's going over.
Yep.
The why part, but I want you to understand before the why part,
Right.
who we talking about. You understand? So for the names for clarity, Jeroboam and Rehoboam is just two people that's going to take, because the kingdom's all together, all 12 tribes.
Mhm.
They all came from Jacob. He had 12 children. We're only talking about those children that came from Jacob, right? And when he spoke about Joseph, we have all these different nations that went down to Egypt that we spoke about that you already know. And then we left out of Egypt. We're still a nation. We're still one group of people.
Right.
Now you have King David. He has a son, Solomon. Solomon went off, right? He went off. Now he's about to break up these 12 children that have been together since the beginning. Now he's about to break this family up. And when you understand the breaking up of the family, you can understand the New Testament of who Christ is trying to speak to.
Right.
You understand? So these 12 children now are what he's speaking about, that some of them is going to stay with Solomon or with his family, and some will go with a whole different person when they all was under one banner, right? Abraham, Moses, they all was under one thing, and now they about to all be separated for the first time into two different people. Even though we're all the same, but we're just split into two different nations. You understand? So now he's saying, Solomon, because you're disobedience, you're going to have one. Now the rest of these people going with a whole different person. And now he's explaining why they separated, right? And he was supposed to listen to one person, and he didn't. So the Lord was like, okay, you just don't get it, right? So here goes the one tribe with here goes the 11 with somebody totally different. So it's important to understand that, because what he's about to go into is about to get even deeper. But if you comprehend that, you can understand what the rest of the lesson is going to be.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, sister, real quick.
This was because Solomon burned incense to the other wives' gods.
He had a lot of, he had a lot of women, and they all had their gods. And as he kept going older and older, he continued to set up. He ain't only burned, he set up like temples and shrines and stuff. And now the Lord was like, no, that was not supposed to be.
Right.
So now because of that, he said, you know what, Solomon? It's no longer going to be one kingdom now. Now I'm going to rip it into two. I'm going to keep you because your father, the only reason you even got something to talk about. But because you went off, I'm going to leave you with one, and the rest of them going to go somewhere else because of your disobedience. Now that Solomon's child is up, it didn't happen in Solomon's time. Now that his child came up to be king, he said, you're only going to have one. And these other childs will go to a whole different person. And this is what we're about to deal with. All right, so all you have is Jeroboam and Rehoboam. One was Solomon's child, and the other one came from somewhere else. And now Solomon's child is going to have one. The other child is going to have the rest of the tribes. All right, so everybody clear on what we're about to do here?
Yeah, because it was 10 and 2.
He
Yeah.
said one just now.
Right.
As we go, like you say, you're putting together lines that you already knew exactly, but he only said one. So that means the rest are somewhere else. And then you'll see he's going to unravel how we get to, like you said, exactly. All right. So I just wanted to make sure everybody's clear, because I know he's about to go into good stuff as I look at these scriptures ahead. And I know if you didn't understand that,
Yeah, man.
it's going to get worse. All right. So this is what we're dealing with. I'm sorry about that, bro.
Nah, all good, man. Yep. All right, so for the sake of us being here only until 10:30, that's why this got condensed. That's why I'm
Yep.
skipping so much, but I'm glad, Kyle slowed it down. All right, so yeah, he does say one is going to stay with you, but he's talking to him as Judah. So he's just saying, Judah, only one is going to be with you, and that would be Benjamin. All right. So like I said, so you got 10 and 2. So you are correct. Where did we leave off, bro?
John chapter 4, we'll start off with verse 5.
All right, so we did finish that whole thing up. Okay. All right, so this is how it started off. Oh, I hate that I can't get rid of this thing.
What's wrong?
I
I
can't
got
get
you.
rid-
Where's your,
It disappears once you go.
really?
Yeah.
Not even up
I'm
there?
gonna have to just speak to him.
It did light up for a minute there, go. That's crazy. Let's do that. Sorry. Because if you hit more, you could just hide it. But for some, I don't know why your mouse does that. Hide,
I thought we
hide
did this.
floating mini controls.
What the heck, huh? All right. So, like he was saying before, this whole nation was all one. Once this happened, now you have a northern and southern kingdom. Jerusalem being the capital of the southern kingdom, Samaria becoming the capital of the northern kingdom. All right. So also known as what you'll be coming across it reading Kingdom of Samaria. This is what you'll hear the northern kingdom referred to as, or Ephraim. All right, but it was known as the Kingdom of Samaria, or it comes from the Hebrew word Shamron, Shamron meaning watch mountain or watch tower. All right, you'll also see it just called that too. They'll let you know we're in the watch mountain or watch tower. All right, telling you I'm in the capital of the northern kingdom. All right, so there's another important part because you'll see Samaria written in the New Testament. You won't know who we're talking about. All right, so that's the capital, northern kingdom. All right. Again, we're condensing a lot. The northern kingdom, because they split and Jerusalem was on the south, now where do we go to worship? That's a big issue. And the king of the northern kingdom was like, I can't let them go there because they won't come back. So he set up in Dan and Bethel 2 golden calves. This is very important because this changes the whole game for the northern kingdom. I'm sorry, what'd you say? They might just be unmuted. Sorry about that, I got you. Yeah. All right. So this is what we have. Now we have a split from north to south. All right. Let's go over to the New Testament, and then we're gonna coming right back. Let's go to John chapter 4. All right, John chapter 4, he is going to pick it up at verse 5. All right, John chapter 4 and verse 5. All right, go ahead.
Then cometh he to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near the parcel of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph.
All right, so Jesus is walking through Samaria, which we have northern kingdom. All right, keep reading.
Now Jacob's well was there. Jesus, therefore, being weary with all journey, sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour. There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Jesus saith unto her, Give me to drink. For his disciples were gone away unto the city to buy meat. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria?
All right, so right from there, we know something's going on here. Why is she saying, you being a Jew, asking me anything? I'm a woman of Samaria. But like Kyle says, they're still the same people. Why is she putting a distinction? Why is she saying, oh, we're different, we don't even speak? Why is she saying that? Keep reading.
Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, oh, we already read that. Verse 10. Jesus,
You're in the middle of 9, that's all.
Bottom of 9.
Yeah.
For the Jews have no dealings with Samaritans.
All right, so she said, the Jews don't deal with us. Keep reading.
Jesus answered and said unto her, If thou knewest the gift of God, and who it is that saith to thee, Give me to drink, thou wouldst have asked of him, and he wouldst have given thee living water. The woman saith unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then thou hast then hast thou that living water.
Mhm.
Art thou greater than our father Jacob?
All right, y'all got to pay attention to the statement. She says, "Are you greater than our father Jacob?" This is what she's saying. Keep reading.
Which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus answered and said unto her, Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again.
Uh-huh.
But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life.
Mm-hmm.
Skipping down to 19.
Yeah.
Skip down to
That was-
19
Yeah.
for the day.
19.
Yep.
Yeah.
The woman saith unto him, verse 19, the woman saith unto him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet.
Uh-huh.
Our fathers worship in this mountain.
All right. Remember, it's called the Watch Mountain or Watchtower. So she's saying we worship in this mountain. Keep reading.
And ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship.
But y'all worship in Jerusalem. All right. But she's saying we're here, you're over there. Keep reading.
Jesus saith unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father.
All right. But pay attention to this right here.
Ye worship ye know not what.
You don't know what you worship.
Why?
You don't even know what you worship. Keep reading.
We know that we worship for salvation is of the Jews.
But wait a minute. So now not only did he say, you don't know what you worship, but he went further to say, the salvation is to me. But if that's all Israel, why isn't salvation to her too? The statement don't make sense. She's just of the northern kingdom as far as she knows. She's saying, I'm of the northern kingdom. We just don't worship in Jerusalem. We worship in the mountain. But he says back to her, you don't know what you worship. And actually, salvation is to me. All right, so we got to figure out, why is he talking to her like this? Is he just being rude? Or does he know something that she obviously doesn't get, that she doesn't know? All right, so let's keep going. Where we at, bro?
Matthew chapter 10, verse 1.
All right, Matthew chapter 10, verse 1. This is why it's important that we're starting off in Genesis and reading all these things to get this history. Because people will read the New Testament and make a mess because they don't know the history of what they're talking about. And if you don't know the history, you don't even understand why Christ had to come. All right, so Matthew chapter 10, he's picking it up at verse 1. Matthew chapter 10 and verse 1. All right, go ahead.
And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease.
All right, so he's getting them prepared for something. He called them all together and he got them all strengthened. All right, we're going.
Drop down to verse 5.
Uh-huh.
These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not.
All right, so he's saying, don't go to where the Gentiles are, and don't go to Samaria. Keep reading.
But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
That doesn't make sense. If he's saying go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and Israel is in the northern kingdom, why is he saying don't go to Samaria? This is the whole thing about what he's saying. This is the whole thing about the woman saying, oh, we worship in this mountain, and him saying back to you, you don't know what you worship, and the salvation's to me. So let's find out, why is he saying, go get the lost tribes, but don't go to the northern kingdom? They worship in the cast, but he's telling them to go get Israel. But he's saying they're not there. In other words, he's saying they're not there. I need you to go find Israel, but don't look where Israel is as far as on the map. Okay? All right, so let's find out why he tells them don't go to the northern kingdom to go get Israel. All right? Otherwise, you would have read that like, that don't make sense. He just told me to go get Israel, but then said don't go to Israel. All right, so let's find out what happened.
Well, I didn't,
All right.
yeah, that's one point out one
Yep.
thing.
One thing we want to point out also, he's saying is the mission is go reestablish Israel. You have to get the ones that are lost because they have a job. He just told us the job was a nation of priests. So when Christ is, when he's talking, he's saying, go find them. Go put them back in place because of the job they have to do. But don't go to Samaria looking though, is what he's saying. But don't forget the mission, what Christ is saying. I'm coming to the lost. I'm going to go get them that's lost. I'm going to get a certain group of people because of what we read earlier. They have the oracles, they have the covenants,
Okay.
they have the giving of the law, and they have the minister in the sanctuary. So Christ is saying, go get them. Go find the lost sheep. And we found out they were lost because of what Solomon did. So if Christ was coming to do something like he's saying, to understand why Christ returned, we missed that part. He's returning to go gather some people to put them back in position to do their job for the rest of the world. That was their job. So because they're lost, he's saying, I need you to find them, put them back in place. Now things get reestablished. The only reason it was lost is because he said, I'm going to destroy them for their wickedness. And if Israel's destroyed, the world's destroyed. Why? Because Israel has the answers. So Christ is saying, I have to come to put them back in place. That was his mission. Now it turned to Christ loves everybody, just believe on Christ, but Christ is saying himself, disciples, I need y'all to go out and get the lost tribes, put them back in place. I need them to do their job. Go ahead, Sister Brooklyn.
So the Gentiles, right there in verse 5.
Uh-huh.
So the Gentiles are the Samaritans. Are you grouping them together, or are the Gentiles dwelling with the Samaritans?
Well, he's saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Or not?
Yeah, don't go there
Okay.
and don't go to Samaria. So he's already given you direction. These two people, don't go here.
So they
To,
are-
yeah, I need you to go find them. Don't go here though. Because Christ has to direct them where to go, where to find the lost tribes.
together.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, nah, he's saying exactly. So he's saying, nah, these two different people. I need you, and this is New Testament again. Where the New Testament is still speaking about these things. Don't go here. Go over here to get the lost tribe. But we don't want to negate that he's telling them to go do a job and find the people that he showed was lost already. Right? All right.
You're stating at this time that the other tribes that are lost and they're scattered.
By the time we, yeah, go ahead, bro. Yes. By the time we get to the New Testament and we're under that Roman captivity, that northern kingdom's gone. And that's what he's given, that's what we're getting understanding of right now. That he's telling them, don't go to Samaria because Israel isn't there. I want you to get Israel, but there's no point in going to Samaria to get them. They're not there. So now we're going to go back and find out why he's saying that. All right. All right.
And from a knowledge standpoint, we would go there if he didn't, because
Right.
that's what he showed.
Right,
So I know where they're at. He's saying, no, not there though.
right.
But from a knowledge standpoint, they would go
Right.
because that was the origination of everything. Exactly. So from a knowledge standpoint, you gotta direct them and say, I know you're looking for the lost sheep, but just don't go there
Right.
and where they supposed to be. And he's about to break that down. Go ahead, Brother Chris.
Also, just to clarify too, like, just keeping the distinction, so, and then you started to read, you got the lost sheep of Israel, and then you got the Gentiles who told us not to go. So most of us have got our Sunday gospel from, which is Europeans, but he's telling you, don't go. So just to keep everything.
Yeah.
Going.
Yep. Right. All right.
Okay, going back to verse 5.
Yep.
These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
All right. So this is what he's telling them to do. I need you to build up these people and get them right for this kingdom. All right. Because like I said in the beginning, they are the nation of priests. So I need to get my priest back to their job. Give them the understanding that they can go back to work. All right. All right. 2 Kings. Yep. 2 Kings chapter 17. All right. So let's find out what happened to this northern kingdom. All right. 2 Kings chapter 17. He's going to pick it up at verse 6. 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 6. All right, go ahead.
In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away to Assyria and placed them in Hala and in harbor by the river of Gozan and in the cities of the Medes.
All right, so he says this is what he did to them. He said when he got there, Assyria took them into Hamath, Gozan, Assyria. This is where he carried them. This isn't no short trip. You know, this might look close on the map, but that's not a short trip. So this is where he took them. All right, during his captivity, he's taking Samaria out of the land. All right, keep reading.
For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel and of the kings of Israel, which they had made.
All right, so we got to point this out. This was a choice. A choice had to be made. What do you want to serve? And it was good things set before them and bad things that we're going to get into. I got to keep reminding you, there was a choice made to do this and get what's going to happen from doing it. Because a lot of camps teach a lot of hate as if it's someone else's fault. All right? And we'll do the same thing today. We'll do the same thing today. We'll put it on everybody else to why we are where we are. All right? All right, so but he's letting us know it's because they did something wrong that they got taken out of the land.
Verse 9. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord their God, and they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman
to
the fenced city.
So from the capital to all the cities, this is what they were doing secretly. All right, so like I said, you'll see it called Watchtower, Watch Mountain, but they all had this understanding that we're going to do it secretly, and we're going to set up whatever we want. All right, so now the question is, if they got taken out, then who's there? Who's there if they're saying the king of Assyria took them out? All right, so let's skip down to verse 24 and find out.
Verse 24, and the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cuttath, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel.
So he went to a lot of the places we actually see that he took them. In other words, he just reversed it. All right, I got 500 going there, give me 500 back. So he took people from these places and placed them in Samaria. All right, keep reading.
And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. Verse 26. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the God of the land.
All right, so before we go there, we got to point out that that woman actually thought she was of Abraham. She's saying, oh, we worship here. So now we got to try to figure out, well, if she's not of Samaria, how does she learn the word of God? How does she think she's of Abraham's seed? All right, so let's start that over, because this is going to tell us why she thinks that way. All right, so start that over.
Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the God of the land. Therefore he has sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the God of the land.
So this is what they're talking to the king of Assyria about. They're saying, we don't know this God that's supposed to be here. And these lions are killing us. Something has to give. We don't understand what's happening. We don't understand why we're being destroyed. What we do know is we don't know this God that's here. That's what we do know. Keep reading.
Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom ye brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let them teach them the manner of the God of the land.
So now he goes back and starts to teach them the manner of the land. Now y'all think, oh, well, time goes on. They're not going to forget that, they don't belong there. I'm so mad I couldn't find this video. But it was this, I want to say, give me like a famous African tribe.
Zulu?
Zulu.
No, you already say that.
That's what I should have called you. That's exactly who it was. I was putting everything else. I'm putting Mandingo. I'm putting all these other things in. And I could not find this video that I had seen. He was sitting with this Zulu leader, European. And he was saying, you know what? Yeah, we're going to come down there. And he's like, we're all going to live together. And the Zulu leader was like, what do you mean together? He was like, my house, then your house? My house, then your house? Or you mean your houses and my houses? He said, you mean together like that? And he's like, well, nah, just together. And he's like, okay. Well, he's like, let me ask you one more question. After years and years go by, when our children are grown, whose land do they say it is? Will your children say it's their land? Or will my children say it's my land? And he's like, oh, no, we'll say it's our land. We'll all say that. And he just looked back and he was like, nah. He said, when years go on, somebody's going to say, this is ours. And we've always been here. He said, because that's just what happens. And now I'm looking at these stories. That woman was convinced, I'm from here. I'm Abraham's seed. He said, you don't know what you worship. And actually, salvation's to me, not you. I can tell you how to get there, but it came to me. The oracles came to me. So as you probably think, oh no, there's no way they can get that mixed up with just within a couple years. Yeah, you can. We're doing it right now. We think we've always done Christmas and all these other things because that's what we was handed. We think this is how it always was. I'm so mad I ain't asked you that name. You said that first. All right, so I'm gonna try to find that and send that to y'all because it was a really good conversation he was just having with him. But so that's what we got. All right, so they learned that how to serve God based off of the Assyrian king saying, let's send somebody back to teach them. All right. Did we finish that up?
No, verse 28.
Okay.
Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel and taught them how they should fear the Lord.
All right, so remember, Bethel and Dan is where the golden calves were. All right, so they sent him in Bethel and told him, listen, you got to teach the whole nation because they don't know what's going on here. All right, so that's how they got the word. All right, where are we heading now?
Daniel 9, verse 9.
Okay, so we have that. All right, so while we're going to Daniel 9, before we get into that, all right, so again, I noticed there's a lot of information really quickly. All right, so the only thing we covered just now was the Northern Kingdom's captivity, all right, which is 10 tribes. You have the Southern Kingdom. They went into captivity about 200 years later, all right, and this is what you have right here. All right, so from 586 to 516 pretty much spans the whole Southern Kingdom's captivities. All right. So yeah, so it's starting with Babylon. All right, so about 200 years later, you get the Babylonian captivity. All right, so Babylon, Assyria was a powerhouse before Babylon became what they were. And then Babylon was just smashing everybody after that. All right, so you got about 200 years after Assyria, they go. All right, so according to the Bible, Cyrus the Great, who is a Persian, which was our next captivity, all right, he issues a decree to rebuild the temple because when Babylon came to destroy Jerusalem and took them into captivity, they destroyed the city and they destroyed the temple. All right. So now Cyrus gives a decree because God moved it to be this way to send them back, all right, to Jerusalem in 539 BCE. This is often referred to the Edict of Cyrus and marked the beginning of the Jewish return from exile in Babylon. All right, so he gave some of them charge to go back. The people who actually didn't want to leave, which believe it or not, there was people who didn't want to leave. They've been there so long. He said, okay, if you're not going to go back and help, you're going to have to fund it. You're going to have to give them some gold. You have to give them some silver. You got to help them out somehow. You can't just stay with me and not help them. All right, so this is how you get people going back into Jerusalem. It started off with Cyrus. Now, this was held up quite a few times. Like, don't think he just sent a letter and everybody just got right to work. There was enemies trying to stop this. But if you're trying to find this in the Bible, you'll see it with Ezra and Nehemiah. All right, you go to Ezra and Nehemiah, you'll see one was in charge of rebuilding the wall, the other in charge of rebuilding the temple. All right, but all happened off of this king. He gave the decree to go back. All right, I think it was about what, 42,000, 40,000? For some reason that number sounds familiar. About 40 some thousand went back. All right, and whoever didn't go back, they had to help fund it. All right.
I think history said one, and then the history book said one number.
And we
in the Bible it said like something close.
Yeah, it was like a couple thousand off, nothing crazy. All right, I think maybe we was 40. I think the Bible was like 40, and I think history says 42. Yeah, yep. All right. What do we got to? All right. Where are we going down? Daniel 9 and
Daniel 9, verse 9.
Hold on real quick to the see what Okay, so you know what? Yeah, let's read Daniel 9, then we'll go to this. All right. Yeah, you're good. We're gonna read Daniel 9 first.
Daniel 9, verse 9. To the Lord our God belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him.
All right, so even though we rebelled against him, it says mercies belong to him. Go ahead.
Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our God to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants, the prophets. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore, the curse is poured upon us.
All right, so that's important right there. Daniel is making mention that because we transgressed, it says the curse is poured upon us. What is he talking about? He says, from right there, there's something that's poured on me just because I stopped listening. All right, keep reading.
And the oath that is written in the law of Moses.
He said you can find it in the oath of the law of Moses. Keep reading.
The servant of God, because we have sinned against him.
All right, so he's saying because I transgressed, or we transgressed, there's a curse that has been poured out upon us. All right, now we're going to see the whole thing unfold, but this right here is something that Josephus had wrote, right? This was the siege that we, a lot of us know of that happened in 70 AD. All right, and this is from the Emperor Titus. All right, but he was a general at the time. All right, so this is what Josephus wrote about that siege that happened to Jerusalem. All right, so we just read Ezra and Nehemiah went back to Jerusalem to rebuild it. Now we're finding out years down the line, Titus comes and destroys the temple again. All right, Jesus gave mention of it. Should we read that? Should we read what Jesus gave him the warning? Then we'll go back to Matthew 24. Yeah. You think we would probably don't need that? That would be good. All right, yeah, time permit, yeah, we'll go, because Jesus gave them a warning about this before it even happened. All right, that a lot of people put as end times, like what Kyle was talking about last night. They put a lot of things that happen in Matthew 24 as all end times. But a lot of that stuff is what we're the problem what we're reading right here. All right, so yeah, yep.
So this is the destruction of the temple. There, he's speaking, this is the same one that Jesus was saying, like, not one stone is gonna be.
Yes. Yep,
Correct.
that was 70 AD. That was
Correct.
Titus. Yep.
Correct.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna read it then. Yeah. Let's go to that before we go to Deuteronomy. Matthew chapter 24. All right, we're gonna go to Matthew chapter 24 just so we can read that. Where are we at? 10:08.
How you doing?
Huh?
How you doing, Tom?
I don't think so, man. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Matthew chapter 28, 24. You can pick it up right at verse 1.
Matthew chapter 24, verse 1. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple.
So this is the temple that got rebuilt in Ezra and Nehemiah's time. Now they're showing like, dang, look how nice this is. All right, keep reading.
And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
All right, so he let them know right there shall not be one stone left upon another that shall not be thrown down. He was referring to this time right here. All right, we're just going to read a little bit of how bad it was. All right. All right, so it says, Josephus wrote that 1.1 million people, the majority of them Jewish, were killed during the siege. A death toll he attributes to the celebration of Passover. So the one thing that this doesn't say is they were letting people in. Like we all know, well, a lot of us know during Passover, you had to come back to Jerusalem. They actually used that. And so, yeah, go on in. They opened the gate for them, but they never let them out. When the siege started, they just started massacring people. So they was happy that it was a holiday. They didn't have to go gather you. You already coming to me. So they let all these people in just to massacre them after. All right. So he's saying about 1.1 million people, and he says it was that bad because everybody was coming for Passover. He said Josephus goes on to report that after the Romans killed the armed and elderly people, 97,000 were enslaved. All right. The people who weren't enslaved, they did try to escape, but you got a lot of people that went into European captivity from here, from his enslavement. The others dispersed amongst the Mediterranean. All right. I couldn't find on the map where it says the kingdom of the Jews. All right, but it did the original map does have a place for where the Jews were in Africa.
Nigeria.
Yep, Nigeria. All right, but a lot of people now will say, "Oh yeah, you know, it was just black people selling black people," as if I'm walking with Kyle one day and I just look over at him like, "Yeah, I'm grabbing you and I'm just gonna sell you." No, it was a people looking at a whole nother people. It wasn't me just walking with my brother and deciding to make $5 real quick. It was me saying, I don't like that person over there, that group of people over there. We're gonna round that group of people up and we're gonna sell them. All right. So we'll go into we're not gonna have time to get to it. We'll go into the transatlantic slave trade and all that. But like I said, this is just one of two lessons. All right, but this is where you'll get the dispersal of the Jews that were left. So just to recap, Assyria's gone already. So 10 tribes are already gone, have already started to depart and go everywhere amongst the world. This is where the other two, Benjamin and Judah, went after that. All right, so this is how they got dispersed. All right, so now we can go over to Deuteronomy.
Why you go around and add something?
Mm-hmm.
So the explanation of what he gave is why Israel is confused about where we originated from. because we were taken into slavery out of Africa. So the people that are calling themselves Israel will say, you're from Africa. Give you a whole different part of where you actually came from. No, we dispersed running at this time to Africa, but we wasn't from Africa. But as long as I make you think you originated from Africa, you would never try to identify yourself with these people. So it was a point to make all of the history books start at slavery.
Right.
All of our history starts in one location, slavery only, and never talks about before slavery, and never talks about anything other than slavery during Black history. It's only slaves. But what about before that? Were we born right into slavery? Is that all we were as people?
Yep.
But if they made the books read that way, at best, we think we came from Africa. So now we're saying we want to go back home. That's not where we was at. We ran there from fleeing what Christ told us was going to happen. So now we think we're Africans mentally. So no longer will we look for Israel. And now they can say, because I'm Israel. You don't need to look because we're already them. You guys are Africans and all your books say that. You understand? That's why it's a reason why we have to be lost in order for somebody else to say we're them. You are Africans. And if you talk to anybody, I want to go back to Africa. We're from Africa. We want to go get our land back.
Look how Israel is in Africa.
You
It
talking
is,
about the
but we're talking
continent?
about the mindset of,
Oh, okay.
yes, it is a continent, it's just like Egypt is as well,
Yeah.
right? We don't attribute it to that. I'm just saying that we think we're Africans
Okay.
because of that. I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you.
I think the original map.
Exactly. We are, exactly.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yep.
But Israel and Africa is two different nations of people
Okay.
in the same land. I agree, totally, yeah. I was going off strictly what the history books say. Yep. Go ahead, bro.
Just for Southern Nations.
Yep.
Being that it was Israel, northern tip, right? Which now named Africa. This is why a lot of people who don't ascribe to Christianity, because it's given to us through slavery, when their minds want to go back to where we came from, which is Africa, they pick up all of the false. Now they don't serve the true God. They got all the ways of the Hamites, which we think that's our original worship.
Right.
These gods, the sun god, all these things. So it's almost like it's what they call it, double one time. It's two negatives. You know you don't do this here, which we got found here. But when we go back to where we think we come from, a lot of people, especially us, say, no, I don't do that. We come from this to sun god, right? So you understand?
Yeah,
right.
God's people, that's what we're trying to address. We gotta find it.
And we attribute another thing. We attribute, I know for sake of time, I'm going to give it right back, but we do attribute ourselves to Egyptians.
Yes.
We're not Egyptians. So you see people wear, all the famous people are wearing the Ankh now. Because now they're saying that was us over there. We came out of there. We were enslaved over there. Everywhere we've been enslaved, we're calling ourselves them. And it's just because they're a dark nation just like we are. Yes, we're all dark, but we're different groups of people. Everybody else can identify us, but we don't. We identify ourselves as Egyptians because we're on the tombs. Yes, but we were slaves on the tombs of the pyramids. And now we're Africans because the history books say that's where we were taken from. Agreed, we were. But how do we get there?
Right.
Is what he's explaining. We fled there is how we got to Africa. Or it's still part of, like you said, still part of, because we walked out of Egypt. So can't be too far, right? So it is in Africa, but they are dark nations, but we're totally different group of people. This is why if you see a person from Africa, we can look at them and say, they look different, right? We don't confuse. I don't care if you see a whole big football line of a sports team. We can pick out everybody look like us. Everybody look like a different tribe, different nation.
Yep.
We are dark like them, but we could tell the difference between an African person and an Israelite person.
Nigerian can tell the difference between a Liberian.
Exactly.
Liberians don't call themselves Nigerians.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So everybody can identify that, and we do. We say, "Oh, that's the African brother, African sister." We don't never.
Right.
We already do that naturally, But for sake of time, we're gonna keep speeding up. Keep going. All right, looking for something.
I'm gonna show them this picture. Okay. All right, we're going over to,
Deuteronomy chapter 28.
all right, Deuteronomy chapter 28. This is it's Chris's chapter.
Always say that. I think one more point.
Yep.
And we can't identify all Israel either. Like we went to Panama, we went to Mexico, we went
Yeah.
to, so a lot of the people that look like other nations could still be Israel.
Right.
That's why he said at the end, I'm going to tell you who Israel is. We come in all shades, colors, different languages, we're everything. So we might be, we're in Mexico, we went, he said we went all across the world. So some people rule out, oh, they're Mexicans or oh, they're Puerto Ricans or we went everywhere. We have a lot of stuff that we are. So we can't identify, pinpoint and say, oh, they're not, but we are. And he's going to say how we're going to identify how that happens.
Yep.
But just wanted to point that out. It's not because you're black, you're Israel, right? Because obviously we got a mixture of a whole bunch of different nations in us. You know, we still do it today. You see a child half and half. You can't really tell. You just know something's going on, right? So identifying us goes by a few different things, but we can't cast anybody out saying they're not Israel because they came from a different place or they speak a different language.
Right.
We're everywhere.
Yeah, and we can show those kind of things with the transatlantic slave trade, and just the first slave trade, then the transatlantic, when the Portuguese was just hitting all kinds of spots before he even got to America.
Yeah, yes,
All right, so we'll go into that.
Right.
All right, so Deuteronomy chapter 28.
I'll bring Chris up.
Yeah, no.
I'll bring you up and teach this one. No, we just keep messing with you.
Can't nobody teach Deuteronomy 28 like Chris.
No shot this fire, Chris.
I ain't gonna do it justice.
No shot this fire.
All right. We're gonna start at verse 1. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1. So this, if you have time when you get home, if you haven't read this, you got to read the whole thing. We're gonna do some skipping around. I still had to take quite a bit of it because I didn't want to skip too much. But yeah, you're gonna have to read this whole thing. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I commanded thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
All right, so he starts off saying, everything will be great if you just listen to me. It sounds simple enough.
Right.
Everything is going to go wonderful for you if you listen. All right, so we're not going to go into the wonderful things just for the sake of time. We're going to get right to what Daniel referred to as the curse is poured out. Where is he getting that from? All right, so let's drop down to verse 15.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
All right, so this is where he's pulling this from. He's saying, if we don't listen, this is what happens. A curse will be poured out to you. Keep reading.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shall thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
So everything is cursed. Sum it up, everything's cursed. You're not going to be able to escape this. If you decide not to listen to me, curse is going to be when you try to open stores, the fruit of your body, your kids, everything is cursed if you don't listen to me. All right? So we'll sit around wondering, why are we in this state? And he's saying you can't escape this. Not a little bit of curse. Everything you touch, everything you have, all your kids, everybody's cursed. Everybody's going to feel it. Keep reading.
Verse 25.
Uh-huh.
The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
That's what Brother Cobb was just saying. You will be removed into all kingdoms of the earth. Keep reading.
Verse 28.
Uh-huh.
The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
All right. Smite you with madness. and blindness, astonishment of heart. This is why we feel the way we do. All right, where we at?
Verse 29.
Uh-huh.
And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
And no man shall save you. Nobody's, I don't care who we elect. I don't care who we say, he's going to get the black people out of this. He's saying, no, once you're under this curse, if you don't listen, nobody's going to be able to save you. All right, where we at?
Verse 30.
Uh-huh.
Thou shalt betroth thou a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
This is a tough one. He's saying you're going to get married, but somebody else is going to have her. This is what we had in slavery. Oh yeah, you can go out there and get married, but if I feel like coming back, I'm coming down there. You'll have a wife, you'll have kids, but they're mine. Can you read it?
Verse
32.
32.
Uh-huh.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand.
Can you imagine just watching your kid go and never seeing him again? You just had him. Kids stripped from you. You say, oh no, this is going to be the curse. You don't want to listen? You'll have kids, you'll have wives, but you won't enjoy them. If I feel like taking them, if I feel like selling them, that's what's going to happen. And you'll just have to watch with longing. I wish I could see my son again. I wish I could see my daughter again. I wish my wife could just be my own. He's saying this is the curse. Right now, he's explaining to us how to identify this people. Not everybody can fit this. Go ahead.
Verse 36.
Uh-huh.
The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known.
Mm-hmm.
And there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
And this is where we get these gods from.
They're starting. Yeah. I think they're about to start.
Okay.
You can hear it, right?
I think she's testing it. Yeah. Yeah, she might be testing it. Testing their
It's
stuff.
coming through us.
All right.
Yeah, they got people coming in.
All right. All right. All right. So yeah, we're gonna have to bring it to a close. We have something that's about to start. We are really sorry. We apologize for this. We're gonna try to make this so this doesn't happen again. We are really on this, but yeah, we're gonna have to bring it to a close early today. We're just really getting into what I need to talk about. But all right. Stay tuned for another episode of It's Your. All right, yeah, we're gonna have to pick this back up, family. All right, so let's all stand and face Jerusalem. Let's get everybody from outside.
Man, we got people just coming on.
Little appetizer, that's it. Little appetizer. Get everybody ready for full course. Little appetizer.
That was like you giving me my main meal, then take it away.
Tasty, like that?
All right, family. So yeah, so we have to end the class early today. We have to start early and we have to end early. Thanks, man. All right, so we're all standing to face Jerusalem so we can pray out. Again, we apologize for anybody that didn't get the message that we were starting early. But next week we'll be back at 11 o'clock. All right. You got it, Dave.
Our Father, which art in heaven,
Our Father, which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Kingdom come,
thy will be done
thy will be done
in earth
in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread,
our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts
and forgive us our debts
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not unto temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Happy Sabbath.
Hey, happy Sabbath, Israel.
That part. He told him in Samaria. And then they started switching them out.
Oh, yeah.
That's the crazy part. I'm like, wait, whoa. So he said, don't even look for them there because Samaria, that's not it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna find the video.
Because the line was clear enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody had to go back to tell them the one you switched out. Go back in. To teach them.
So far, right there. To the point where they.
Jesus said, go there.
Right.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
And him.
And Samaria is the northern kingdom.
That's when the Jewish people in hospitality.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Y'all can blame him for this. Because I asked him, should I do it or should I not?
Those things ain't gonna be like that. These was good.
You know what? I realized I had to start all the way over. I'm like, we got mad niggas. I'm not gonna be able to just go right to the split.
I knew you gonna have stuff on there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That part was nuts. That they went to some northern kingdom, then they started switching up.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yep.
and that's why Jesus said, no,
Okay.
you know what you